And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our CIG TV live coverage here of the situation with the earthquake that happened just after 2 this afternoon. I have with me His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, and Premier the Honourable Alden McLaughlin.
Look, we've had a very dramatic afternoon, and I know that for a lot of people this has been very frightening. And I just want to say our thoughts are with everyone who has gone through this this afternoon. We are now certain that we have the all clear from the risk of a tsunami, but there is still a risk of aftershocks from the earthquake. And in fact, we've just had one in Governor Square a little while ago. So we do still need to be vigilant for aftershocks and take the normal precautions. We don't know of anybody being sort of injured or harmed in the islands, which is obviously good news. We've had the helicopter up there looking for damage, and a structural damage assessment is now underway. So we will just get information to you as quickly as possible, but the headline is that we have the all clear from the tsunami alert.
All right, and Premier McLaughlin, if you have anything to say.
Well, just want to say again, from the very many messages that I've gotten, I know people are very concerned and very alarmed. I know there has been some structural damage around, including at my own house, but it is, I think, with a deep sense of gratitude, really, that I say it does not appear that anyone has been hurt or seriously harmed, and that we have been spared the worst of what could have been a truly devastating ordeal. Let's continue to look after each other and to give God thanks for having spared us.
All right. His Excellency, Premier McLaughlin, thank you so much for joining us. Now we'd like to invite on set Minister for Financial Services, the Honourable Tara Rivers, and Director of the Hazard Management Cayman Islands, Ms. Danielle Coleman. So, Danny, any tips for our viewers out there who may need to, who are obviously shaken up at this point, because I think we pretty much all are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and again, as the Governor mentioned, we have had the all clear from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Centre, so there's no longer a threat of the tsunami. However, there will be aftershocks, very, very likely to be aftershocks during the night. So we're asking everyone to be vigilant and make sure that, you know, things like if you do feel it and you're in your bed, make sure you cover your head, stay in bed, do not move, don't run outside the building. Make sure before you go into your house tonight, make sure you look at the house. If there's obvious structural damage, don't necessarily go there, go to potentially a shelter. We may be opening shelters this evening as well, depending on the level of damage. We're also asking, again, if you sleep with a big picture above your head, don't do that, take the picture off. Anything that looks like it could fall off a wall in an aftershock, make sure you take it off the wall, because again, just be careful. Again, aftershocks are a possibility, but we're doing everything we can at Hazard Management with all our stakeholders to make sure that the island is safe. We do have teams out doing damage assessments both in Grand Cayman and the Sister Islands right now. We've kept very close contact with the Sister Islands because it was closer to them than it was for Grand Cayman. The Aston Ruddy Centre I know is up and running, as well as the shelter in Little Cayman. So if you do feel you need to go to the shelter, please make sure you do. Again, it's just best to be careful and aware of aftershocks. So keep your head covered. If by chance you feel something, duck, cover and hold. And we do have all this information on our website, again, www.caymanprepared.ky, for all the tips and tricks. Please make sure you don't share information that's not verifiable information. So if there is something online that you see photographs and so forth, don't share it unless you know it is from a true source. Again, our website will be updating you throughout the evening. But at this stage, there's no tsunami threat. It's merely potential aftershocks, so just be careful with the aftershocks.
Now, Danny, you mentioned the Sister Islands of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, where the earthquake actually was felt the most. Yeah. How are they managing over there as a team?
Again, I think we're very lucky. We have a full 52-member CERT team in Cayman Brac. It's a community emergency response team. I know we've spoken to Mr. Ernie several times, and Ms. Charmaine Kaur in Little Cayman. Mm-hmm. They're managing. Again, the shelter, I think, is quite full already now, just as precaution. But again, we're just making sure that we have constant communication, constant updates. They've got teams out there in Cayman Brac right now doing public assessments. Public Works Department are doing assessments, and they're feeding that back into the NEAC, well, the Hazard Management Office here in Grand Cayman. What we'll do with all this information, we'll map on our dashboard to see where the sinkholes are, and again what the damage is. Again, another thing I'd like to say, again, if tonight in traffic, the traffic's going to be a lot worse, so make sure you are careful when driving. If you're in the driving and you feel an aftershock, make sure you keep your seatbelt on and close your, turn the car off. So just tips like these can actually help save your life. But at this stage, we've got through the worst of it. We just want to make sure that everyone's prepared for aftershocks this evening, and just be careful.
You also mentioned that there'll be teams out assessing any damage. What about folks who are on island that may know of something that's happened? Where can they feed that information to?
Okay, that information right now is coming through 911, who's sharing it with us. So those reports of any damage right now should go to 911. I'm sure they'll get inundated quite soon. So again, just be patient with that. But that's where we're getting our information from. That will feed through our own response mechanism.
All right. Well, Minister Rivers, Minister for Financial Services. Obviously, business is business, and financial services is one of our major businesses. What do you have to say to folks out there?
Well, certainly, I'm wearing two hats here today: financial services and home affairs, which obviously the hazard management Cayman Islands falls under that remit. So I want to say, first of all, a big thank you to the team at Hazard Management and all of the relevant stakeholders, the police, the fire, 911, all of the emergency responder agencies who have really pulled together to make sure that we get information as quickly as possible, so we're able to update the public as quickly as possible. Again, just to reiterate, I want to say that with respect to driving, I know the roads are gridlocked. Be mindful of sinkholes, be mindful of any potential aftershocks. Thankful that we have, passed the worst, as in a tsunami, but still time to be vigilant with respect to how we move and what we do. And just want to once again say, please log on to www.caymanprepared.gov.ky in order to get the latest verifiable information, and be vigilant as to not share information that's not verifiable, because we don't want to create more concern than is necessary. But at the same time, HMCI and the team will make sure that they update the public as and when necessary, as efficiently as possible.
All right. I do have this update for our viewers out there and the listeners on Radio Cayman from Cayman Airways. Obviously, in light of the situation, Cayman Airways is advising the public that all non-essential services have been suspended for the day. They said that their ticket offices on all 3 islands, as well as the Cayman Airways reservations call center, will be closed until tomorrow, January 29th, when regular operating hours are expected to be back online. All flight operations will continue tomorrow and today, they say, as schedule. Cayman Airways is of course continuing to monitor the situation and will provide further updates for the traveling public if it becomes necessary. Thank you to all of you for providing the public with the latest on this situation, an earthquake here that sent shockwaves through the Cayman Islands. I'm Donna Bush here on CIG TV. We ask you to stay with us for any later updates, but for right now we've been given the all clear, so we're okay. Thank you for joining us.